G'day riding buddies. Well, so far it's all my videos I've been doing everybody else's bikes and different manufacturers' bikes and stuff. For something a bit different, my wife has got in my ear and had a bit of a go at me and said, why don't you do a video on your own bikes? So what I've done, I have pulled my 1974 CR125M out of storage. This bike and myself have got a long history. Did a lot of vintage motocross on this bike in the 90s and up to 2000. Did quite okay in nationals and stuff on it. And basically since about 2008, it's been in storage. So I've got it out of storage. I've got a few little things for it, hopefully in the future, very near future for it that I want to do with it. And I thought, well, might as well get it out, have a go at trying to get it going again. So I caught this up a little bit late coming on with this video because I've already started working on it. I should have started it before, but hey, these things happen. Ideas come late in the process. But I'll just have a little bit of a run through of what this bike actually is all about. As you can see, anyone that knows anything about CR125Ms knows that this thing doesn't look standard. So I might just run through a few things that's been done to it over the time to modify it, and where I'm up to with getting it back on the track. So starting at the front with the little CR125, obvious modification, 1974 CR250 front forks fitted with a Yamaha YZ250A front wheel. It actually stops pretty well, especially considering how light these bikes are. Back to the engine, there is extensive modifications to the engine. It's got an aftermarket gem reed valve, 34mm Mikuni carburetor feeding it. Inside the barrel, my late father did the cylinder on this, and it is an absolute work of art. Not going to give out any specs that are inside there because that'll give away all my little tricks. Custom, very modified gear lever, looking a bit sad there at the moment. We all know how good the gear levers were on these things. Fall over, bend the gear, select a shaft, and that's the end of your day. So I went with a folding tip gear lever. The foot pegs are the original foot pegs with large extensions put onto them. I found donor foot pegs and cut them all up and added to them. The frame has had fairly extensive gusseting. Once again, people that know CR125s know that that is not the place for the CDI box. It's meant to be up under the tank, but it won't fit up under there anymore with the way the frame's been modified. Obviously, another pretty obvious modification is the DG head. I don't really know if it really makes that much difference in horsepower. It does help with cooling because the original head was very small with the finning. So that's probably the only real benefit to the big fin DG head. Down to the back of the bike, we have got my own custom built aluminium brake torque arm. The only reason for that is because it looks cool, as far as I was concerned. So it doesn't really help at all, but it looks pretty good having the aluminium instead of the steel one. The exhaust hanging bracket on these things, when you start pushing pretty hard, they always break, they tear out, they do all sorts of weird things. So a good mate of mine, Mick Bakewell, helped me make up our own little bracket, which is a lot heavier duty than the original one, that's for sure. And ever since I've used this bracket, I never had any more dramas. Up on the bars, it's actually a Suzuki PE throttle control that I've used on this with domino controls. I found the domino controls back in the 90s were really good. They're actually the clutch levers off a 96 KTM era bike. My own bar risers to suit the bars to get the heights to where I wanted them. The rear shocks on the bike, one of the major modifications that I did to this bike back in the early 90s was some Works Performance aluminium bodied rear shocks These shocks were supplied by Paul Chippendale. He now has a company called Mako at Chippies. He doesn't do work for Performance Shocks anymore, but after all these years sitting in the shed, they're leaking a little bit of oil. They're in good condition other than oil leaks, so I've got to get these sent away and get them resealed, re-oiled and re-gassed. All the time I raced this bike, I always ran the standard, actually 75 CR125 pipe on it, because you'll never find a 74 pipe with the cigar muffler on it. And I have had a few different ones on it over the period that I've run this bike. And this one also is looking pretty secondhand now. So I'm contemplating, let me know what you think. Will I run a DG pipe or a GMC pipe or something else? I'm not sure whether to keep trying to resurrect this one or go to an aftermarket pipe. So this was our usual vintage motley crew. Lucia, aka Wifey, Brad, myself, Daryl, Claudine and Mick. So far with the revamp, I haven't done a lot yet, but I've had to replace the inlet manifold after so many years of sitting around and being so old. The rubber inlet manifolds had split itself in half, so I've had to improvise a new one of those. Of course, you can't buy them from Gem anymore, considering they don't exist. But after fitting the new inlet manifold, giving the carby a little bit of a tidy up, didn't need too much to be honest. I did store it correctly. Fourth kick, fired into life and ran. So on and up from here shall we go. So after 10 years plus of storage, needless to say the air filter's a little bit beyond it, shall we say. I don't think a clean and a re-oil will actually fix that one. So that's just where I'm up to at the moment, and a little bit of a look at my little CR125 Elsinore, as everyone likes to call them. Thank you for watching this video. Let me know what you thought. Hopefully I'll bring you some more stuff as I get going further through getting this thing back on the track. Make sure you hit that subscribe button down there and subscribe to my channel. Also to maybe have a look at this video over here. You might like it as well. Go back through my library, there's lots of other stuff there to see as well. And we'll catch you next time.